finally got this working.
Kind of.
Technical difficulties here.
Yeah. It's supposed to be at my studio, but it what happened? I didn't have my keys. I lost my keys.
Yeah.
What the Sci-Fi?
Alright, so it's today's date is the 29th, and yesterday Chadwick Boseman died at around probably at 7 o'clock. Probably around 6 or 7 o'clock. It's all over Facebook. Everybody kind of knows about it now. So we're starting a sci-fi podcast. It's kind of like the worst time to start it, probably. Yeah.
But it's better to start it than to not start it, you know?
Yeah.
I know for me, the impact that this guy had really was quite amazing, because you go from making just little indie movies to making one of the best comic book movies in my professional opinion, and throughout the whole time he's making these movies, he's battling with cancer, and I think that just is a true testament to his character and his own kind of way he goes about life. Like, you hear all the people talking about him, saying how he's a light in the darkness, and I was just thinking the other day, I was like, man, it's like every single good person who has impacted the world is just dying on us.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just a kind of like a good challenge for me to rise up to that standard, and to be the kind of man that, you know, this world needs, my family needs, friends need. And it starts with everyday things: getting your ass up in the morning, brushing your teeth, saying hi to people. I mean, you can't really like hug them or shake hands, but you can definitely say hi. And, you know, I was working the other day, and there's this guy who was yelling at this other lady across the street, freaking across the street, man.
Oh, wow.
And yelling at her, just saying, "Put on a mask."
Oh, nice.
I was like,
Yeah.
where have we gotten as a community, as a piece of humanity, where we have forgotten to be aware that people need to have that connection, and need to have the just a simple respect and common human decency, just to be kind. You know? I mean, obviously, if they were like coughing around you, yeah, and like trying to like get up in your biz, there's something wrong with that. But
yeah, it's like when I wear a mask, I don't necessarily wear it like wherever I'm walking, but like if I get close to somebody, I usually put on my mask, especially because I've been riding my bike to work. So I'm kind of huffing and puffing. So when I get around somebody, when I'm like sweating, because I don't want a runner to run by me, and then be sweating and basically breathing all their amoebas all over me, you know. So I put a mask on when I get close to other people.
yeah. And, you know, and who knows what where this is all gonna lead. You know, some people say that they hope that it'll be gone by spring. I'm hearing a couple of people talk about that. Man, shoot, I I hope this is gone in like a month.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is gone in like a month, man, because I mean the way that it is impacted not just people's personal lives, which is the most important, but also the whole economic structure of our country.
Yeah.
You know, because people need to get to work. When you think about it, when people are told that they can't go out and socialize, they can't do this, they can't do that, people don't like to have stipulations placed upon them. Like, I was listening to this guy the other day, and he was saying how we need to just have people be given the opportunity to do the right thing, and to be given the straight up just like I said, the opportunity to do the right thing. And we need to really, like, shoot, man, I just lost my train of thought because I'm thinking too far ahead of myself right here. But basically, it all comes down to us trying to really get to the point where we got this thing down, we got this virus down to where we are taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of each other, you know, doing what we need to do. I think that if we would have started when quarantine started, if we went a whole hard 6 weeks, you know, a whole hard 6 weeks, we probably wouldn't be in this state right now where there are over 150,000 people dead.
Yeah.
I think if we would have went hard and just sucked it up for 6 weeks, we wouldn't have had this issue that we're in now. But, you know, what do I know, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's a weird time. But I don't know. Things are things are getting better. We're
That's good, man. I think that as long as we do our best to become fully aware of what we need to do in order to kill this, in order to completely eradicate coronavirus from the world. It all starts with little things. It all starts with washing your hands, becoming respectful to others, giving them common human decency, and yeah, like I was listening to Gavin Newsom, some of the stuff that he says, and I just like, man, you're just rambling right now, man. Like, sometimes I just think, man, you're just saying the same damn thing over and over again. Like, I feel like we're going nowhere right now. But I don't know, what do you think?
well, when he first came on, I think he has good intentions. I think for the most part, but when he first came on, it was like he was on the news like every freaking day, and then him and I kind of like the style of LA's mayor a little more, but not really a fan of our mayor or even the governor. I mean, yeah, he's okay, but the president was on the news every freaking day. So,
Do you think we've gotten to the point now where we are so saturated with politics that it has become like the most important thing in the country? Like, what happened to the days where music was a big deal, where, you know, going to football games was a big deal, and now it's like everything is about politics. Everything is about what you believe politically. And I you know, I don't really like to talk about politics much unless it needs to be talked about.
yeah. Well, about all the stuff that's going on, like you said, the music that was a big thing, especially in the 70s. So if you look at the 1970s with the hippies and stuff, when all the music was real big and rock was blowing up and you had Jimi Hendrix and Woodstock and all those things. Not
Right.
that those people were incredibly rich, but you had the Vietnam War, so there was a tension, and then that was around the time where there was nuclear threats from Russia.
Right.
So we're in the Cold War, so everybody's kind of scared, and that we're worried about a World War III and a nuclear war, for lack of better terms, and that's what really spiked good music for them too at the same time. So then you have now. I feel like there's an opportunity for that to happen again because this has been the most strange time in the world.
Dude, we like when we were kids, like we've never been through anything like this as a country. I've talked to hundreds of people, and they've, people who live back in the, 50s, and with all the different things they were going on with at that time, they said nothing was this bad.
Well, you got to think too is like a lot of things have changed. Like the closest thing I remember to this was the Y2K and 9/11.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but then at the same time, all you had, like for families that didn't have a lot of money, was regular television. So, not even cable television in the 90s. So, or the radio. So you didn't have like social media where everybody has a voice. You didn't even like this podcast right now. You know how much this would cost in the 90s? Yeah, this would be a shit ton of money. You're looking just in this room. This is only like less than $300 of recording equipment. So, and it would have costed a lot more, and to even have that Star Trek pad you have in front of you, this is a different time. So people like, if you consider school shootings, right? In the 90s, there weren't school shootings. The first one was Columbine in '98, and then you had Santana shortly after. Then school shootings seemed like they were weekly. When
Yeah, I remember that.
And this is because of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Really, in all reality, is everybody is you're bullied on cyber. You're cyber bullied now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine it'd be harder to be a kid like in this time. With the technology that we have now. And all the social media platforms.
So I'm reading these facts right here on Fortune, and the most deaths, you're looking at Operation Enduring Freedom, 2,300 people dead. Persian Gulf War, 2,500 dead. Operation Iraqi Freedom, 4,400 people dead. Korean War, 36,574 people dead. Vietnam conflict, 58,000 people dead. COVID-19, this needs to get updated, but it says 83,000 people dead.
So more
1968 pandemic was 100,000 people dead. World War One, check this out. World War One, 116,000 people dead. So this virus has killed more people than World War One.
Well, how many did you say was World War One?
116,000 people dead.
And then how many for the virus?
I think it's 180,000 right now. Let's look at it.
I thought you said 80,000.
Well, this needs to get updated. It says 83,000. But let me look at my my phone here real quick. If that is correct, though, I mean, wow.
But then a lot of the right wings believe that doctors are fabricating who's actually dying from it, and saying that everybody's dying from COVID when really they just got it and they died from different things, so it's hard.
I'm hearing the exact opposite, though. Like, I'm hearing that more people have died than just what we're hearing right now in the world. All right, so let's check this out here. 24.8 million cases, 838,000. And in the United States, 184,000 people dead. So you're looking at it's between World War One and World War Two. World War Two is at 405,000 people dead.
Americans or people? Because that sounds like a really
U.S.
small...
deaths.
Oh, yeah.
It says.
So that's a really small number compared to
Yeah.
worldwide. Yeah, because...
But I mean, I'm looking at United States, 184,000 deaths just in the United States.
Yeah.
That's just mind-boggling to me.
We got in World War II really late, too.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So, but we haven't been in this season very long either, but... You know, everybody wants to get out and they don't want to do anything right. You know, we're looking good, supposedly. San Diego.
Yeah, we're finally. Our
theaters are open, right?
Couple are.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of excited that drive-in movie theaters are coming back. You know, that's starting to become more of a thing.
Yeah.
I love that more than the theater.
Yeah, and that and. You know, I think people have more respect for music. Like, there's more people actually looking at what you're doing, you know, because not that many people are back to work in this time. You know, like, I don't know, can you look up the unemployment rate right now?
Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So I'm looking at initial jobless claims in regular state programs fell by 98,000.
So that many people went back to work?
To 1.1 million in the week ended in August 22nd.
So what do you mean?
Also dropped in the week August 15th, though remained extremely elevated at 14.5 million.
Unemployed?
Tracking COVID-19 new cases. Yeah, this is all... Didn't really answer my question here.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We got Star Trek. So I'm doing that popping thing. I'm sucking my teeth. I'm getting braces in 2 weeks, so pretty happy about that. So let's go over the news. Star Wars star Daisy Ridley blacklisted by Hollywood. Well, that's interesting because a lot of the Star Wars people didn't care for the movie.
Yeah, they did
the last movie. So let's see what our super Star Wars girl did. You know, I thought she should have died at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so the last what is it called? The Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't watched it, here's spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for Rise of Skywalker. So
if you haven't watched it yet, I applaud you. It's a piece of trash.
Yeah, you're probably better off.
Better off with your original trilogy.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. I mean, we can go all kinds of ways with this because the second trilogy was more held by Lucas. So
yeah,
and you would think that'd be a good thing, and it really wasn't because what the genius of Star Wars was you know, obviously the original idea, and you know, the time that it came out, the technology was incredible, but his wife was the editor, so which is now his ex-wife, but she might not be alive, but she was the editor of Star Wars, A New Hope, so okay. That was a big plus. Like, editing is a big part of movies, and it's part of the genius of it, you know. But he also had outside directors, you know, pretty good directors. I'm not sure the names of the directors. I guess we could look that up real quick.
Do you think that if George Lucas...
A New Hope director.
Yeah. Do you think if George Lucas was involved
Episode 4,
and
A New Hope was
Disney
by George Lucas.
went ahead with this new trilogy, like from Force Awakens to Rise of Skywalker, if George Lucas was in charge of that, what do you think? You think it would have been? How different do you think that would have been?
He did the prequel trilogy, which was I really didn't care for as much. So it's really hard to tell what he would have done with the new ones. I think a fresh mind on it, but just one that understood the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, because it it is canon, for better lack of better terms. But I mean, the things that are in the prequel trilogy that are like that piss off a lot of the fans. He kind of had that idea in way back when, So like when it comes to midi-chlorians, like nobody really cared for the idea of midi-chlorians, which if you don't watch Star Wars, okay, so here's a story on midi-chlorians. So in the original trilogy, you had the Force, which was like an entity that that was all, you have to watch Yoda talk about it. He says it's all around you and binds them and keeps them together or whatever. But it's what gives the Jedi and the Sith their power, right? So there's a dark side and a light side. But then they never said anything about you had to inherit genes to be strong with it. But they kind of implied it with Luke Skywalker since his father was a Jedi, but you didn't know who it was. The Force was more of an energy that was in space or whatever. Or
it's funny that you mentioned midichlorians, because even though I knew that, I didn't really just realize that until you just said that they did not really talk about that in the original trilogy.
No, they didn't bring it up until the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So, and then that was when they said that midichlorians was like you had to have a high count, and then that's what made you like possible strong in the Force or whatever, possibility to be strong in the Force. And it really like disturbed a lot of fans. I remember being a kid and thinking that was weird, because I was probably about 12 when that came out. And
we're young guys, just so you know, we're really young.
Yeah. And well, but I mean, there was cool parts of Phantom Menace. I liked Qui-Gon Jinn, except if you'll see a lot of YouTubers and they know this. Like a lot of the stuff I'm saying will be repeating, but originally Obi-Wan said that he was trained by Yoda. But then in Phantom Menace, he was trained directly by Qui-Gon Jinn. Yeah. So they made some mistakes, but I mean, I like that idea because Yoda was supposed to be in charge of the Jedi, and I always imagined what it would be like to see a Jedi Council. It was cool to see the Jedi Council, but there were some mistakes, but there are some things that I think that could have been done way better with the prequel trilogy. Like there's a clip of George Lucas talking about Jar Jar Binks. So
trash, dude. That was the worst character in all of Star Wars history.
But I don't think he didn't have to be. Here's what happened with Jar Jar Binks was he said that Jar Jar Binks was the key to everything. Now I don't think just the little thing that he did in Attack of the Clones. So Jar Jar Binks is a goofy character from Phantom Menace, and he shows up in Attack of the Clones, and he has a cameo in Revenge of the Sith. But he basically turned over all the power to who ended up being the Emperor, right? So, but I think it would have been way better if he would have been the Sith. Because if he was a Sith, and he was like, because there's, theories that he was doing what you call drunken fighting.
Right.
Yeah, which is like, there's a Jackie Chan movie called Drunk Fighting. It's like a fake out technique where you act like you're dumb, but you're whooping ass.
Yeah, I just thought of this. Wouldn't it have been interesting if somehow, I mean, I know this wouldn't have correlated with the original trilogy, but if they made it somehow to where Jar Jar Binks was the Sith Lord, or he was Palpatine's original master.
No, what
That would have been awesome.
what I was thinking, right, was that you know how you have Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones.
Right.
Well, he wouldn't have been there. It would have been Jar Jar Binks.
That would be an interesting take.
Yeah, and because there's like things that happen in Phantom Menace where you could see Jar Jar Binks' mouth moving,
Yeah.
but he's not saying anything, but like he's having people talk for him, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just so you guys know, we're definitely huge Star Wars fans. Jason's more of a Trekkie than I am. I wish I knew more about Star Trek, but
yeah, Star Trek. Star Trek is Star Trek is like a big part of, I've always been big on both. Now, just recently, watched all of Battlestar Galactica. I highly recommend that.
the new one or the older one?
The newer one, yeah. I haven't watched the old one yet, but then they're gonna make a third one. Well, technically there's
Is that going to be on the Sci-Fi channel or on Netflix?
no, it's gonna be on Peacock.
Oh, it's on Peacock.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and it's supposed to be helmed.
Take my money, Peacock.
Hold on. Yeah, Peacock is. I really appreciate Peacock, especially way better than CPS All Access. CPS All Access. They're taking our children's hopes and dreams away.
Yeah, man. I had CBS All Access once, and I just think that they just charged way too much for the shitty quality shows that they had at that time, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It might be better now. This was about 5-6 years ago I had it.
Okay, the guy that created Mr. Robot, Sam Esmail, is the executive producer of the new Battlestar Galactica. Now, Mr. Robot's pretty cool, you know, and he's going to respect the last show, which was done by Ronald D. Moore. Was
just for your, just as a reference, guys, we love both The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. In our opinions, those are the best Star Trek shows.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch Voyager. I mean, Voyager's kind of like
That's
not really
boring as shit, man.
Yeah, it's pretty boring. Voyager's boring. I like the old school one, but it's like it's archaic and
Yeah, it is.
there's a lot of mess ups in Star Trek. So then
But the story is popping, though, man.
yeah, and well, Ronald D. Moore also wrote Star Trek: First Contact.
Right.
So then he leaves Star Trek in the 2000s, early 2000s, and then the executive producer of Star Trek. So you have the executive producer. His name was Rick Berman. Mm-hmm. So he was in charge since right around season 3 or 4 of The Next Generation. He was in charge of all Star Trek property, and then he went on to do Star Trek Enterprise. So at the time Star Trek Enterprise came out, you had Battlestar Galactica going at the same time. Yeah. So, and Ronald D. Moore, who was the head writer of Deep Space Nine, was just crushing it with Battlestar Galactica, and interest in the Enterprise was not as good. So, people watched it because it had Scott Bakula, who is from Quantum Leap.
Do you think that Battlestar Galactica should be a movie? Should be
Well, it has TV movies.
a
I mean,
cinematic universe, kind of?
no, I don't think so. I think, going where it's going with another show is fine. It had great acting in it. It had some bad acting, but it had great acting. It had what's her name? I follow her on Instagram. What's her name? Starbuck. Her name was Katie Sackhoff. So she's Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, so she'll be showing up in the Mandalorian.
That's gonna be...
Yeah,
I am so excited with what Disney is doing with the Mandalorian, man. Like, they're getting Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
And that, to me, she was just an amazing character. And
I really
think-
wish they would have used Ashley Eckstein. Was it Ashley Eckstein? What's her name?
Horrible names.
Oh, let's look up. I'm looking up Ahsoka Tano. She's my favorite Star Wars character by
Yeah.
far.
I mean, I think, based upon my own opinion, and you guys can agree and disagree with me all you
Ashley
want.
Eckstein.
But, right.
Yeah, I follow her on Instagram too. She has like she does a women's clothing line for Star Wars.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's called her. I think it's called Her Universe, but yeah, she's great. And now it's gonna be what's her name? It's gonna be Ahsoka Tano.
Rachel Dawson, I think. Is that?
No, it's Dawson, but not Rachel.
Yeah. Let me fact check here. We're doing a lot of fact checking here, guys.
Yeah, what I know her from is she was in Clerks 2, which was Kevin Smith's Genius, and then she was also in Men in Black 2, right? Or 3.
Right.
Was it 2 or 3?
Okay, Rosie Dawson.
Oh, Rocio.
Beautiful actress. Very beautiful. Very talented. Do you think that she will do the role justice?
Well, I would hope that she would go to Ashley Eckstein and get like,
Pointers.
well, pointers and like know her, like get to know her and how she approached the character as a voice actress, because that's her character, and I don't know how she feels about being passed up for that role. But I mean she made it to the movie, so that's kind of cool.
Right.
She did a voice cameo just real quick, but it's like Mandalorian. I hope they don't oversaturate Mandalorian, and they keep on doing it justice, because they did great with Mandalorian.
They really did. But it's pretty. I was laughing at this the other day. You and I were texting this, and we're saying how what's that lady's name?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, thank you.
Killer.
And I was saying how it's funny how a TV show is more popular among the fans than the trilogy, the horrendous trilogy that she created.
Well, did you ever finish the Clone Wars?
I'm on the last season right now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
It is? I'm
Well,
excited to finish it.
That's a new one, right?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Yeah, I love that season. I mean, there's some slow
Season
parts
7,
to it,
I believe.
but they end it really good. Rebels, I didn't really care for. I like parts of Rebels.
Yeah.
The Ahsoka Tano Darth Vader fight's probably the best part of Rebels. Oh, and the Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight.
I like how it connected both episode 2 and 3 and then on to 4 later on. Like you can see how the universe is kind of colliding from the Republic to the Empire.
Yeah.
And then in The Mandalorian, you get to see what life has been like after the Empire has been defeated.
Yeah.
Now, question. Do you think that with the horrendous trilogy that Kathleen Kennedy created, do you think that's not going to be canon anymore? Do you think they'll scrap that?
Yeah, I've heard rumors about that. I've seen that. Like I think that's pretty drastic, to scrap 3 movies,
True.
But originally, like,
I wouldn't be against it though.
no, me neither. Yeah, because I really can't stand like a lot of people like Kylo Ren. I really don't like Kylo Ren.
I don't like people who don't respect the source material.
Yeah. And they obviously didn't. Like, what they did with Luke Skywalker was ridiculous.
And Han Solo and Leia.
Yeah.
Well, Leia, you can't really blame them for Leia. But I think they did the best with what they could with that
They
with her.
they could have made her character better before she passed away because she could have been a Jedi, like a full blown Jedi, you know. Which they kind of
Spoiler alert! In Rise of the Skywalker, you get a little scene where Luke is training her. I think that was pretty cool to see. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
that's the best scene probably in the movie. Yeah, I even like the Rey getting trained. I just think she got way too powerful, you know, and
Right, I agree.
and her being the granddaughter of the Emperor. That's a
And then
complete.
at the end of the movie, oh, you're a Skywalker now.
Yeah, she should have died.
Okay.
Really, she should have died because it was called what, The Rise of Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
But it was the end of the trilogy. It was supposed to be the end of the Skywalker saga, which was 9 movies. You know, so that's the end. Like,
I was expecting the Emperor to kill her, and then Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, was going to become good and defeat the Emperor. That's how I thought it was going to happen.
I think it would have been fine if Kylo Ren stayed alive. But, But I think they really should have killed Rey. So
In my own opinion, I think that it would have been better. I mean, his character is a lot more fleshed out, in my opinion. Like, you get to see where he's at, why he's doing the things he's doing.
yeah, but he could have started over the Jedi, you know. But well, I guess they could have killed them both. But because they could have killed them both, but see, they should have brought Baby Yoda in.
Dude.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were gonna do. You know, I thought they were gonna bring in Baby Yoda as an older, maybe more of a teenager. You know, and then he would continue the legacy, which it kind of makes me nervous for what they're gonna fucking
What
do
is
with
the
Baby Yoda.
timeline from Mandalorian to Rise of Skywalker?
Well,
No, Force Awakens. I mean,
you think it's got to be about
because Mandalorian's
30
8
years.
years. 8 years after the Empire.
No,
is
it's
defeated.
5 years.
Oh, it's 5 years.
yeah.
Okay.
So then it'd probably be like 25 years later would be the Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah, that's something. That's still he'd still be pretty much a baby because they
No, he could be.
they
he could
grow
be
up very slow, right?
yeah, but
These races.
he could be a young kid.
Do we even know the race's name?
No.
We still don't know that.
No, it's called Yoda species. Yeah.
Oh wow! I can't wait until they actually reveal. I'm pretty sure that George Lucas knows.
Well, he doesn't. He never wanted people to know what his race was or a lot about him. I wouldn't be surprised if more show up. But I really think like what the end of the Mandalorian, they're supposed to find his people. They're gonna be finding Jedi.
What was your original take after you saw Baby Yoda? That whole egg armored thing open up and you see Baby Yoda.
I thought that was it. Didn't get much better than that because there was nothing you could have done. Like that was the biggest reveal since Luke, I'm your father. You know.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Or it's not.
Now,
I am
question:
your father.
do you think it's just another one of his species, or do you think it's Yoda being rebirthed?
Oh, like a clone?
Yeah, or what's it called when you die and then you come back a second life?
No, reincarnated.
Reincarnated, yeah.
No, because one, he shows up as a spirit in the new movies.
True.
So-
Good point. Okay. Good point.
But see, they did connect. They connected Mandalorian a little with the new movies, like when he healed the the black dude. What's his name? Carl.
Let's look it up right now here real quick. Mandalorian. Okay, here we go.
He's actually a director next season.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, when he healed.
Grief Karga.
Yeah, when he healed. No, not Grief Karga. Oh yeah. Oh, then what's the name of the dude from Los Pollos Hermanos? Oh yeah, Moff Gideon. Okay, so when he healed Grief Karga, they immediately had the movie, which had Rey healing the snake.
Ah,
Yeah, so that was
interesting.
a direct tie-in, you know, because they never showed anybody healing before Baby Yoda did it. So Baby Yoda
Right.
did it first. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how where they're going to take this character of Baby Yoda. It would be pretty amazing, in my opinion, if he became a bounty hunter
Yeah. I
who
think
was
that'd be
force
cool.
sensitive.
Yeah. I think that would be cool.
Oh man.
That's in the lore. That's in.
And I'm finding myself more intrigued with the bounty hunters, their code, this is the way, and they're very loyal to their family.
Yeah, but that's one thing they need to explain.
Yeah.
Like, probably more than anything is how did it go from we're the Mandalorian, we're a certain species, and we take our mask off whenever the fuck we want, to you're kind of adopted in, or you could be a Mandalorian, and you can't take your mask off.
I think like what they said in the show, it was a race, but when that race started to die off, they started to probably let others inherit their way of life. And so
Yeah.
they started to go, this is how we live, this is how we dress, and this is the way, this is the code.
Yeah.
It's like the Mandalorian said, it's a creed.
Yeah.
And they had their own planet, man. That was just crazy.
Yeah,
And-
but all the way through Rebels and Clone Wars, they were taking their masks off.
Right.
So in The Mandalorian, that's where it stops. Besides, you only saw, in the original trilogy, you never saw Boba Fett without his mask on.
Mm-hmm.
But then George Lucas and the Clone Wars basically striked the Fetts out of the Mandalorian culture, so they're not
Right.
Mandalorians anymore. Or they never were.
Because they wanted you to actually connect with those characters. It's hard to connect with them when they don't have you can't see their face.
Right, but I think they did a good job. Like, I really didn't have to see Pedro Pascal or whatever. I didn't have to see his
That was an
face.
interesting way how they did it, though.
Yeah, that was probably the best way they
Yeah.
could have done it, you know. Because then, otherwise, it wouldn't really matter, you know. But his suit looks great.
I liked how in the show, it's pretty much like a video game where you're going from level to level, and as you're going from level to level, you're upgrading your weapons, you're upgrading your armor.
Yeah.
That to me was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I like. I like that.
And in the end, man, he gets the friggin' rocket booster. He gets his little signet
Yeah.
on there. That was pretty cool. But I was kind of like, one thing I wish they would have done better was how, well, I mean, they did say how he was going through the training of flying and everything when he was younger, but right when he puts it on, he was able to fly no problem, you know? I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been funny if he just would have struggled a little bit, you know? Probably fallen on his ass a little bit.
Yeah. I really want to rewatch it again before the second season.
Same here.
So then that brings me to think of Star Trek. So Star Trek. So as some of you may know, if you're a Star Trek fan, this is what's going on with them. They were bought. Well, who's in charge of Star Trek is the Kathleen Kennedy of Star Trek. His name's Alex Kurtzman, and so far they started their third show, which is called Lower Decks, which is
I like comedy.
yeah, it's a comedy. It's made by Mike McMahon, and the Mike McMahon is from Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites.
Is that canon with the rest of the shows?
Yeah, see, that's what I don't really get. Is if it's canon, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a comedy, but it's not very funny, you know, and the other two shows are great, you know, like Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty. Those are really good shows, and so I'm thinking, okay, well, this looks really dumb for a Star Trek show, but maybe it might be funny. But
Yeah.
what it really does is like it kind of mocks Star Trek, you know, in a way that isn't very respectful to Star Trek. Like
Right.
have you ever watched the Orville?
I have.
Yeah.
I almost watched the entire season, almost.
See, Orville,
The first season.
Seth MacFarlane is a Star Trek fan.
Yeah,
Like,
he is.
and he knows Star
It looked
Trek.
more like Galaxy Quest than anything. I was like,
Yeah,
which they also ripped from
Yeah.
Star Wars. Star Trek too. So
The Galaxy Quest was good. He actually directed
hilarious.
Face the Music.
Oh, he did.
The director from Galaxy Quest, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did. I remember reading that.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
but Face the Music was good. It was a good family music movie. We just watched it. But yeah, so Orville that's more of an actual parody that's actually good, you know. And yeah, this Lower Decks, I mean, all three of the shows are trash, you know, like Lower Decks and Star Trek Picard and Discovery, yeah. Yeah, Discovery's a total mess. It like doesn't respect the technology of the time because it's supposed to take place before Kirk.
Interesting.
Yeah, but everything's way more advanced, you know, and then the Klingons look completely different than
Yeah. Jeez.
yeah, they look horrible.
And they were my favorite too. I love the Klingons, man.
Yeah, but see the Klingons in the original series here,
What was the race of Oda?
Odo, he was
Yeah.
he was a changeling. So his species was the enemy in Deep Space Nine.
They were always was his race always in the war with the Klingons?
Well, the Klingons were
War with everybody much.
no, Klingons became allies with the Federation.
Right.
Yeah,
And it was the whatchamacallit?
The Klingons were at war with the Federation during Kirk's time.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Romulans were at war with everybody.
No.
Like they were pretty much the high race, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When it comes to
Romulans,
technology and
Romulans had their own empire, and they were consistently at war with everybody
Federation.
until the very end of the Dominion War, that's the war of Deep Space Nine, and when they finally came together with the Federation to beat the Dominion, and the Dominion was so you have in Star Trek you have like 4 parts of the galaxy. You have the Alpha Quadrant, Beta Quadrant, the Gamma Quadrant, and the Delta Quadrant.
yeah.
And the Federation's in the Alpha Quadrant, and then the Beta Quadrant on the border you have the Romulans and the Klingons, and then over here in the Gamma Quadrant where you have the wormhole that goes from the Alpha Quadrant to the Gamma Quadrant, and that's where the Dominion is on the other side of the wormhole.
Now I've never seen this question answered. You might know. How was the Borg created? Who created the Borg?
Yeah, see, I thought they were going to get into that in
Yeah.
Picard, because if you watch Star Trek Picard, they almost make it seem like that's where they're going, you know. And that would have been cool, but they didn't do it. And that's another thing. It's like the origins of Yoda. It's like the origins of the Borg. Like you don't really know where they came from, but they almost made it seem like the Romulans invented the Borg. But
That's an interesting take.
yeah, but they
They
didn't.
were at war with everybody, and so it would probably be nice to have some extra muscle.
Well, Picard, in the show Picard, they made it seem like what they did was they made it so that they said that Romulans never liked any kind of android or robotic life. So, but because way in their past, they had some problems with some type of alien species that was robotic. And then
Interesting.
yeah, so I thought it was the Borg because they bring the Borg in, and what really they do in Picard is they try to pull from everything everybody likes.
Yeah.
So but they don't do it very well. So they have like the favorite character from Star Trek Voyager, which is 7 of 9, you know, and which is a Borg. She's a Borg, and they bring her into it, and then they have they talk about Data because everybody likes Data, you know, and they even bring him back, you know, and which the scene was good with Data and Picard it's good, but like the rest of the show is just straight trash. It's like a lot of political, you know, nonsense. You know?
Now, this is the issue I'm gathering from where we are right now, is that everybody is all into making sure they bring back these other shows or movies, but they never really try to do them justice based upon what's happened in the past. They just try to do it just for fan.
Well,
just for the...
it's even they even kind of disrespect the fans because they say like, oh, like even Jonathan Frakes, who's William Riker.
Yeah.
You know, he's gone on and said, oh well, the fans they're just watching it to see if they hate it, you know, like, and he supports the new shows, the Kurtzman shows, and he directs on them, but I mean...
I did not know he was a director.
Yeah, he directed First Contact. Yeah, so that was his first big movie. Like, he did a couple of the shows in Next Generation, and he... I don't know if he directed any Deep Space Nine, but he directed... Discovery, a couple of Discoveries, and he directed a couple of Picards. But
Interesting.
But he, you know, it's him and Picard is like, I mean, Patrick Stewart, like they support this whole weird movement, but it's
fan
like,
service.
It's really not fan service because they, like Alex Kurtzman, for instance, said that he doesn't want Trump supporters watching his show.
Wow.
You know, which is like, well, you just alienated a bunch of your fans, you know, which I don't care, you know, very much for them either. But it's like, like, why would you even say that, you know?
Yeah,
because you know,
politics has nothing to do with TV shows.
Well, and if
I mean, it shouldn't be. We should just try to do our best to enjoy the shows.
If you're gonna use it in your art, don't make it so like cut dry because and leave people out because then that's your money, you know, because you're fucking off your own money. So
True.
And
they're thinking with their head too much.
yeah, and well, it's like, and then Alex Kurtzman, he made Picard like a little bitch in the show.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a fucking like they
gullible or just goes with anything kind of thing.
Well, it's like he's a.
I haven't watched it.
It's they go with the white straight male is bad.
Wow.
You know, so
what happened to the character of a person?
Yeah, and
matters most.
That was a big thing for Picard. Was he was like a strong character. Like, well, it's like they're trying to smash all the Star Trek that everybody liked. It was like the show For All Mankind. That's another Ronald D. Moore, the guy that did Battlestar Galactica.
Which I tried to watch before this podcast, but life just intervened.
Oh yeah, that one's great too. But see, that does the whole social justice thing. It does it right, you know, because they have so basically the space race changed.
Don't spoil it for me. I'm still trying.
It basically has to do with women being pilots.
Okay.
Which is written well. You know, it's like Ahsoka Tano. She was written well. You know? Rey wasn't written well. You know, I personally like Jyn Erso from Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I like
she
Rogue
was
One.
Good.
Yeah, people, but they clump her in with Rey.
Who would think that a Star Wars movie without Jedi in it could do so well?
Yeah.
it made over $1 billion. And
Yeah.
I do got to give that to my hat or to Kathleen Kennedy for that success.
Yeah, but that was pretty much it. That and Mandalorian is pretty much it. Like Solo was trash. Well, Clone Wars is good, but
I
Clone
still have
Wars-
not watched all of Solo yet. Like I went
That's
like
boring.
halfway and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I've been falling asleep every time I watch Lower Decks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Lower Decks is really trash. Like I haven't watched the 4th episode that just came out this week.
Wow, interesting. Now, moving on to my favorite thing. As you are a huge Trek fan, I'm a huge DC fan. And very recently, DC had their DC Fandome last weekend.
Yeah.
And this, man, I gotta say, dude, like, Marvel had all this time while we were in quarantine to announce something, to do something, to entertain us. Is that right? Entertainment industry. And they need to entertain us. We are the fan base. And we are giving them our money. So therefore they need to put in the time, the brain work to make sure that they do us justice. But they haven't. DC, however, I think this is their chance. If you guys have seen the Phase 4 lineup, it's not nearly as strong as Phase 1, 2, and 3. Right now, DC has the chance to beat Marvel in their own game. And I think that with DC Fandome, they are finally starting to come out of their shadow and starting to realize that their characters matter. They need to stop trying to be like Marvel. I think they need to just embrace their characters, know that their characters have value. Superman.
Are you talking
He's-
about Marvel?
DC.
Um,
DC has one of the biggest superheroes, and in my opinion, they have the biggest well-known villains. I mean, think of Batman. He has the greatest villains of all time. And right now with DC Fandome, they are able to make this whole virtual global event where you click on and you watch all the different videos, and it's live for 24, or not live, but they were obviously pre-recorded, but for 24 hours. And the first thing that comes on is Wonder Woman. And man, I gotta say, bro, like, they have postponed this movie, was it 3 times now? It was supposed to come out in November of 2019. Then they moved it to March, or was it? I think it was May. Then they moved it to August. Now it went up to October, which is when the Batman was supposed to come out, and they moved Batman back.
Is this the second Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984. So this is still post. No, not post. Pre-Justice League. So this is after Wonder Woman 1, which happened in 1917 during World War I. Now this is 1984, the best decade in my opinion, where music was flourishing, culture was flourishing, and they announced not announced, but they showed us the actual look for Cheetah, the villain of Wonder Woman. And I gotta say, man, like, just looking at her, the visualization was so much better than... Have you ever watched that movie, Cats?
No.
The musical Cats?
No.
Oh, dude. I didn't watch it, but just looking at the freaking trailer, I was like, this movie is trashed.
Yeah.
It looks horrible. And DC, you know, that's probably one of the best things about them taking their time with this movie, is that they were able to actually work more on the CGI. It looked better. In my opinion, it looked better. And then they started to move towards Zack Snyder, his version of Justice League. And, you know, like I've told you before, bro, is WB did him dirty. I don't know the whole story. I don't think we ever will. Because what truly matters is that Zack Snyder is finally able to do his version of Justice League. He shot 75%. I don't know if you all know this, but they shot 75%. And then when his daughter Autumn committed suicide, R.I.P. her, he decided to take a break to mourn with his family, his wife, his other kids. And WB, I don't know, I think that they probably did that because they probably didn't want Zack Snyder to sue them for saying I worked on that is my thought, that is my, that's my baby, so I need to finish that.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason why, but they did it in such a horrible way, man. They got rid of 75% of the stuff he shot, and they made a completely different movie. If you look at it, it looks like two directors did it.
Yeah.
And they didn't even give Joss Whedon a credit for it. Like when you watch Justice League, it doesn't say directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. It just says directed by Zack Snyder.
I thought he was the one that they're making the cut of.
They are.
Oh.
So this movie, they said that you probably saw 25% of what Zack Snyder actually shot in the Justice League movie. But with this, we're able to get a full 4-hour rendition of his actual vision. And it's going to be spread apart 4 episodes. And they're not doing a 4-hour movie. I mean, they will after. I think they'll probably do what Mandalorian did, is that they'll release an episode every 2 weeks or a week.
What's that going to be released on?
HBO Max.
Okay.
And 4 hours each, and then after it's done, they'll probably try to do a whole movie, a 4-hour movie, which I'm all for, dude, because WB gave him a 2-hour window. They're like, you're only supposed to show us a 2-hour movie, and he was like, this is a joke. Because he had a whole vision where he was going to go, Justice League rises out of being attacked from Steppenwolf. Mm-hmm. Steppenwolf is trying to get the mother boxes, which are power. They are power, and they are as powerful as a planet. And so in Zack Snyder's vision, I read this, that what awakened the mother boxes were dormant for thousands of years when Darkseid tried to come to Earth and attack the Earth, and the Amazons, Wonder Woman's people, this was 5,000 years before, the Atlanteans, before Atlantis sunk, the Greek gods, you had Zeus, Artemis, and Hades attack Darkseid and his Steppenwolf and all the parademons, and they got defeated. And then, so flash forward 5,000 years now, is when Superman died. If you guys have not seen the BVS edition, I'm sorry, you're way late on that. You're about four years late on watching that movie. But when Superman died from Doomsday, his scream and his cry could be heard thousands of light years away, and it awakened the mother boxes, and it brought attention to Earth. So therefore, Darkseid realized that there was no more heroes protecting the Earth. The Greek gods were dead. And I'm actually interested to see how Darkseid became Darkseid in this, because in the trailer, you saw the trailer where Darkseid, he has, usually in the comic books, he's more of like godlike, like he walks around with his hands behind his back, and he has his Omega beam red eyes. And this is not Darkseid. The movie doesn't start out with Darkseid. It starts with Uxas. Uxas is his name in the comic books before he turns into Darkseid. And the reason why he turns into Darkseid is because he kills Zeus and gains his godlike power, and he becomes Darkseid, where he becomes more godlike. So I'm excited, man. This movie has so much potential. It has so much going for it. I don't think it will probably last the expectation. It will rise up to that expectation that the fans have given it over the past 3 years. I mean, I signed my name on that petition for WB to go with Zack Snyder's vision, but I'm just happy we're getting it, man. I'm just so happy we're getting it because I'm all for artists who they have their dream, they work hard for it, and it's no one butts in telling them what to do or how to do it. They get paid. The studio gives them money to go with their vision. There's no reason why a studio should butt in, especially with artists. I mean, you would know this, bro. You know, you have certain labels, companies trying to push an agenda on an artist, going, okay, well, you can only make 10 songs instead of 14.
Yeah.
And they, I mean, you have
Or
countless
they'll
stories.
tell them how to write their songs or what to change.
Man.
You know, it depends. But yeah, so so this would be the Zack Snyder cut you're talking about, or
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. And
When's that supposed to be out?
so there were a couple of rumblings on the internet saying it might be September 5th of next year, but HBO Max debunked those theories. So right now, we just know that it's coming out next year. They just say 2021.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for. I'm all for, and I could care less if I have to wait 2 years
Yeah.
or 3 years. All I'm happy about is that we're getting it. No matter what, we're gonna get it right now.
Right.
HBO Max has already forwarded the money to Zack Snyder. He's not actually getting paid for this. He said he was gonna do it for free because he's not doing it for himself. He is not doing it for the studio. He is doing it for the fans, and he's doing it for his daughter.
Yeah.
And that, to me, speaks volumes. And I could care less if the movie is trash. I'm just happy that he's finally getting what he deserves. And I don't even think we introduced ourselves.
Oh yeah, I'm Jason
And I'm Chris.
Barber. We're
Barber,
barbers,
yeah. Yeah, well, this is our first shot at podcasting, so please just have patience with us while we try to get a good rhythm here.
Yeah. Next week it'll sound a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they might have to come out like the first 3 all at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, because well, at least we could have done we could do our YouTube one at a time, but we'll probably end up releasing 3 audio because one of the platforms, I think it's iTunes, that you need to have 3 to release.
3 audio, and then you can do a video as much as you want, right?
Yeah, you can do one at a time with video.
We are going to make this a priority, though, so just bear with us as we go through this journey together.
Yeah, and then we'll, if once we pick up traction, we'll have guests on, whether it be maybe some starting off locals with, bringing attention to the local comic industry, maybe have some comic book people on our podcast or something.
That would be cool. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I've talked to some pretty knowledgeable ones in the past. They probably are all knowledgeable. And it's probably a real struggling business right now.
We're gonna see where this goes, and I'm excited to see where this leads. And it's gonna take time. It's gonna take persistence. And now that we're older, I think we're both in our 30s, and we both realize that with life, it's good to have passion. It's good to have a goal, but most importantly, it's good to have persistence.
Yeah. We'll sound a lot clearer next week, and
I'm actually excited to see how we sound right now after we get this done. I'm going to hear ourselves.
yeah, there'll be a lot cut out, so it'll probably come down to 30 minutes. It's probably because we got an hour and 20 minutes right there.
That's not bad for a first off. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's funny is I hate to mention him, but in Joe Rogan, like almost every episode, You have the guests who are going, man, we've been here for 3 or 4 hours. What? That just goes by so fast.
Yeah, he's real good. Like we have some blank spaces, and it's possible that he was more like that because he said he had other podcasts before. So, but I mean, it's possible we'll flow better, and eventually we're gonna need to have guests on. But because we can only talk about so much. But there's with the things we're talking about. There's weekly information and weekly rumors, and I'm not gonna go around looking for leaks and stuff like that. Like I don't have the time for that. But like I can talk about certain YouTubers that are pretty big that I watch, and what they say, and they're pretty much trustworthy sources. I mean, I don't agree with everything they all say, but it's like.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information that they get. So I watch Nerdrotic and Doomcock. But
interesting names.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up.
All right. Well, thank you guys for sticking with us.
Yeah. And then we'll see you whenever you listen to this next.
Peace.
You've been listening to What the Sci-Fi.